There's been a story that came out in recent days about some organizations which have been hacked after weaponized open source apps were released. This is what's coming up in today's Not So Critical update. Mike's giving me a timer and I'm a bit off, so I feel nervous. It's an interesting story. There were some weaponized open source apps, and by that I mean there were popular open source apps. Someone took their source code, injected some nasty stuff, modified them, and then released them into the wild. And so they look like just like Putty was one example. Very common terminal or SSH application that I use, and
Windows,
millions and millions of people use that. And so basically it was they got journalists I think it was journalists or their victims they established a trust relationship with them, started chatting to them and said, oh, hey, so no, you can contact me or upload the file here. And just use this program, sent them a copy of the installation file. And it was a piece of malware, really.
So it was more of a phishing attack though, right? It's not like on first reading, I thought they infected all of these repositories and people who were installing Putty or Kitty were getting this by default. In reality, they had their compromised versions of it. They were contacting people and convincing them to install it on their computers.
Yeah, it's less exciting than the headline kind of implies, but it's still kind of cool because of the way that they did it. Like with the Putty thing, when the machine, it didn't like activate the bad code until you tried to connect to a specific host name. So in Putty, you create different profiles. You say, I want to connect to example.com or I don't know, my.home.server. And there was this particular Amazon AWS one. And if you put that in and try to connect to it, then it would take over your machine kind of thing, infect your machine. So it was really like sort of targeted and specific. And the way that they got people to install it was after actually chatting to them and getting them to like believe in hey, it wasn't just like a typical spam
spray
thing.
Right?
Yeah. It did work. These were successful attacks.
Yeah,
it's fairly common for attackers to approach you, and we've talked about this form of successful attack before, through your work email, posing as an employer that's interested in you. I think it's very safe to say that none or close to none potential employers, future employers, will contact you on your work email. That is not good form, both from your point of view of why would they contact me on a potentially monitored email, and also from them that why would they contact you there? That doesn't make any sense. So just something to keep in mind, that if you're, mindlessly working and you get an email that says we're really interested in talking to you about a job, ignore it.
It'd be a good phishing test from the company.
That it would be a good firing test from the company. That's a double whammy. Oh, you're interested to learn more, and you installed malware on your work PC?
Yeah. I don't know if a company tried to do that to me and like caught me out, I think I would be like, well, fuck you. You're like trying to entrap me. Do you want to?
That's why I'm very on the fence about phishing simulations. They often are used for awareness.
So bad.
But sometimes
every single one I've ever seen is terrible.
Sometimes they're used for terminations. Like, and if you're just using it, like, I'll never forget at a previous company that I worked at, the executives decided to do a phishing sim, including the security and infrastructure and IT teams, without letting anyone know. And they sent it out. And the first thing I did was, I'm going to research this attack, obviously. So I open it, I copy the contents over to a virtual machine that's isolated, and I start taking it apart. And then I realize that it's a phishing sim. And because they're not very careful, like these companies, if you know what you're doing, it's all their information's right there. You can even just look up who the domains that they're coming from are registered to. And then I let them know that I knew, but I was still marked as like got fished.
My job is to research these things.
This was my job, but I was still like a clown publicly, so to speak.
Which even the IT guy fell for it.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like in a public setting, like they like announced who did it and who got caught, and it's kind of a joke. Like, but it's better than the alternative, which is they'd fucking fire you for opening it, and that's not very good.
And the training is important.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, none of us are going to
without making people feel like idiots.
Why is it all this is almost universally awful though? Like just shit. Like almost all the security training, like they go for different ways. Like either like a checklist of things which is just nonsense, like just unworkable and impractical and probably just bullshit. Like I don't know. Make sure you change your password every 3 weeks or something bullshit like that.
So Peter, it's not for you, first of all. It's not for any of us or our audience.
All right, yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
So if you're thinking about people who are administrative workers, people in marketing, people in sales, lower level employees, non-technical people, do you think it's not helpful?
No, I'm not saying that. It's better than nothing. I just think it's just rubbish. I don't know. I've never come across any of these kind of trainings where I really respected them. Okay, so there's one that we use at work, and it's actually not bad. It's not as bad as most of them that I've come across. And they have, every month we get a kind of 4-minute training session, which it's a good length of time. It's enough time to impart some useful information, and it examines a particular type of attack and how you can defend yourself against it. But they have this weird thing that totally distracts me from the content of the actual of the training, which is that they put like the director of the 4-minute video on it, and they hire like a known voice for it, and then sometimes they put like an Instagram link to the director's homepage on there on the beginning, like in the credits for the thing. I'm like, okay, I'm sure you're proud of your work, but why the fuck are you trying to like advertise your profile? It's not that bad. It's just sort of, I don't know. It's the content is actually pretty good. I'll sort of take back a bit what I just said. It's just I had to mess it up.
Just wonder if the voice actors really make a difference too. One
they distract me.
Yeah, because then I'm trying to think like, is that who does that person sound like? Do I know them?
Right. I actually paused the video when it says like they have introducing such and such a person as like deceptive CEO or undercover spy or whatever. I pause it and go and Google, like look up their IMDb page to see how famous they are. It's like,
do they get credited on? One side note here: the group that executed this attack is the Lazarus threat group.
Oh yeah,
who was responsible for the 2014 compromise of Sony.
That's right. I had forgot about that. I forgot about that note.
That was a funny hack.
Yeah,
those emails.
Yeah, it was good. Sorry, I'm just
let's just watch Peter research in real time. It's fine.
Take your time, Peter. No stress.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. We're not at work, are we? It's a good thing this is a casual podcast. Because anyway, hi Neil, if you're watching. By the way, I was just.
Hi Neil.
Hi Peter's dad.
Oh jeez.
It seems like we're at the end.
Okay.
Now. Yeah,
we're at the end.
See everyone tomorrow.